Like, it might just be my least favorite part, honestly. And the fact they got rid of hexagons, that's also a horrible part of Ultimate League. They got rid of the best part of the show. Ryung needs to be the savior of Onsyde. It's not do or die. They do have a revive still. But if you're reviving into Clem and Clem only needs to take one map, that obviously doesn't feel good at all. No proxy. Start off this game number 1. And get this on the way. CC coming about, refinery coming through. Couple of gases, racks coming up. We got all of this on the way in. Let's have our first SCV scout. I don't think Clem's going to take too many risks. I think he's going to scout a lot. I think he's going to just try and make sure he gets into that next, the first steps of this game or these games without too many issues. Doesn't want to come up against something he hasn't seen coming. You thought it was saying let's start again? No, it's saying let's start the game, right? That's what I think it is. I don't think let's start again makes any sense. Let's start the game makes a lot more sense, no? Maybe, possibly. Reaper is hunting around for a few moments, nothing too crazy there. Seeing a little bit of what's going on. And set up for a few moments. It's underway. Just see Cyclone's coming about, and again, no surprise to see Cyclones early. Clem's going to get a Hellion up to help him out initially, but I can't imagine a Cyclone is going to be too far behind in the production tabs. Cyclones really are seemingly the be-all and end-all of the early game nowadays. Yo, and Anthrax, thank you so much for the £50 donation. Appreciate the generosity. Happy birthday. Thank you so much, mate. Thank you for the generous donation. Thank you, thank you, thank you! It's been one hell of a day covering our WTL playoffs. Troopers are Clem jump in, going to find an SCV, and they're just going to dive deeper. Grenades going to bop units around, doesn't really stop anything or help anything for the moment. SCVs, Reaper on the way. We just get set up for the moment as well, so we get all of that going. And a lot of this set up. Couple more Cyclones coming through. Tech Lab about to finish up on the starport as well, as you just have the starport swapping over. And Clem will be able to start up his Ravens. That's already what Ryung is doing. Reactor and Cyclones, building into Ravens. I'm doing this with a couple of SCVs in his favor. A little bit slower. Ever so slightly slow in production, but yeah, making up for it with a couple of SCVs advantage, so very minute differences right now, not too big of a deal. Everyone's looking pretty comfortable and cozy for now. Medevac is going to boost across. A couple Cyclones still coming over as well, so continue to see what those can get up to. As yo, whoosh! Thank you so much for the £50 donation. Back to back, making it rains. Don't know if you've ever had that on the channel before. Thank you so much. Also for the happy birthday, appreciate it, mate. Hope you're doing well. Good to see you today. Just dropping by. Medevac drops down a couple of Cyclones. We continue to put some damage out for a few more moments. And just have ourselves the army of Clem continue to press to the upper side of the map. One Medevac empty around the sides might be a little bit of a bait. Draw some units out over here, then Clem can try and hit full force at the front. I like the idea of it. I like the initial idea. I like the plan. See, Clem actually ended up in a bit of a fight. He didn't actually bait any units into the main base, so this didn't work too well. Like I say, I like the plan, but it didn't really go the way I think he wanted it to fully in the end, which is a bit of a shame. The units now from Ryong actually coming across the map here, going to try and apply a little bit of pressure. So there's a couple of his Ravens available, obviously expecting those auto turrets to be a pretty important part of this upcoming fight, most likely. Auto turrets have really been super important as of late, so no surprise to see that. Likely be the case one more time here. And we just have them looking around. Can you justify the attack into the natural? Probably not really. He is going to maybe try and find something. The first auto turret comes down. We actually get rid of a Raven as Clem. He drops his own auto turrets in response. Does he have enough Cyclones coming out of this? Has to pull a few SCVs. He's 2 Cyclones versus the 4. Where's he at in production? He's reactoring Marines right now. I think he's okay. If the Marines tank a little bit of damage, his Cyclones come through, I think he's going to be fine. Maybe not the prettiest of situations, but could be a whole lot worse. Could have been a whole lot worse, honestly. As we just have the Cyclones still sitting out the front then, so they're still chilling. Waiting for their chance to maybe get something done. For a couple moments. Orbital Command's going to lift off, move down to the low ground here. It's just going to be coming across straight away. Moving right along. Only early few moments again, just taking position. Clem already has his in position, gets the third base protected by the siege tank as well, so we know that that's important. We've seen that previously. It's going to be exactly the plan that he continues to set up for now. One upgrades in the combat shield, continuing through. And just having ourselves the full setup coming in right about now, so everyone's going to be pretty even at this stage. Clem with a minus supply lead, a little bit of army in his favor. The upgrades really are very close together though, and that's obviously very important. They're both going to have 1-1 in combat shields at the same time, so there should be no fight where one player just has a natural advantage truly or heavily over the other. Continue to come around. It is going to be Clem on a little bit of a push there, so making his way across. Be seeing a little counter drop of Ryong, though, is going to catch Clem out of position, so Clem doesn't have anything there, and that's a small drop, so it's not like Ryong is going to be, you know, undefended at home, as we are going to try and dive in for the Cyclones. Clem, he wants to hit that Matrix, he is going to drop, he goes for auto turrets, he wants to just stim through and break the tank. He did get the Matrix in the end, actually, so the Matrix does come down. He's now going to get on top of the third base himself, and he still has position here. The SCVs on both sides ended up having to repair that third. Okay, so Clem does find the opportunity on the other side of the map. My goodness, I mean, he lost the Raven. I thought he missed his chance to get the Matrix off, and then I thought maybe the trouble was just set in stone, right? And I thought he was just going to immediately be unable to do much else. No, not quite the case in the end, though, as we just have Marines and tanks setting up. Whoa, Clem nearly catches a medevac. It turns, it gets away. The speed boost is good enough to keep you safe for the moment here. Oh, the missile turret, though. Clem loves this missile turret on the edge of the base, and now that medevac is super low. If Clem has a Viking or so, that's 8 Marines and a medevac, 10 supply of Ryong that will just drop down dead. Right now, it's going to keep Clem back a bit. I would not mind to see just, like I say, a single Viking mage just to clean that out. Would be nice. Would be good. Clem starts to pull back. Looks as though that medevac has now been able to unload, but where do you go? He's going to try and dive into the main base. Clem's just been pulling away, so actually this unload will happen. Clem has units nearby enough, but it is going to be a distraction for the main army coming across the map as well. So keep our eyes on that as Clem does not see this. He does have tanks kind of covering the ramp, not completely. Sieges up the tank on the natural. Well, I don't know if this matters too much because Ryong during this time is going to eat an anti-armor missile, and why I say it doesn't matter too much especially is because I think it was mostly only the Marines making the dive forward. If that was Ryong diving forward with tanks as well, I would have been a lot more concerned for Clem. With it only really being the Marines, like I say, it's just not really as concerned as I felt it might have been otherwise. So maybe not so bad right there. Marines from Ryong reinforced, and he still has a bit of a position here. Clem's going to spread, he's going to go. Tank's going to try and take out the other tanks. The Marines doing what they can do. Clem's army supply is not quite there, though. Ryung pushing himself into the position he needed to be in. And it looks as though Ryung is perhaps going to get it done in game one. Ryung doing what Maru could not, which is to take a game off of Clem. And isn't that just kind of wild? Ryung, man. Don't discount the guy. Yeah, Clem just not able to quite get the set of fights there. He just didn't know it was happening. The distraction, that one medevac that nearly went down was such a big deal. If he'd killed that medevac, Clem, and he wasn't distracted, he knows this army is coming, and he's never as out of position as he ended up being here. That's the issue at the end of the day. He was out of position. He didn't know what was going on. Up until that point, it was very much so even. And this is a fight you can hold on to or hold on against as Clem as well. And even at the end, I felt like he might have been able to do something about it. Just didn't quite get there. And this one is now looking as though we're probably going to have ourselves a bit of a GG coming up sooner rather than later, because Clem's supply is in the gutter. And Clem is going to have to figure out a way to beat Ryung in game 2. He's now on a bit of a losing streak against Ryung after this map, especially after the World Team League regular season finale for the Team Liquid as well. So that's kind of crazy. In fact, that's really crazy as Ryung stims in. There's no defense here that saves Clem. GG is called. And that was just one move up the center. Bottom right-hand side, our blue Terran player. Taking a map off the monsters. The playoff MVP candidate right now. This is Ryung. Takes on the red Terran top left from Team Liquid, Clem. Let's see if Clem can figure out his issues against Ryung specifically, because he has been on a bit of a losing streak against Ryung, especially in WTL. So, time to flip the switch, time to find yourself a map. I mean, I do think he just did a lot of things right last game, Clem. I don't think you can really complain about the majority of what he did. Just sometimes it comes down to you need one moment of map control being missed, and boom, Ryung took full advantage. Be more aware of that, right? Even if you don't have that map control, be aware of why you don't have that map control. Is my opponent trying to take advantage of it, right? These things can maybe stick in your mind to be something of an answer now. Yo, Galdovsky, thank you so much for the fresh new sub. Welcome. Thank you for supporting us. Helping us to keep on streaming the StarCraft 2s. Appreciate it. No proxy barracks to start off the game is obviously important to note, because this is a matchup where proxy barracks at the start can absolutely happen, so gotta be careful on that one. Absolutely take a little bit of caution. Reapers on the way up, CC's, orbitals all moving in as well. Again, all of that on the way through for the moment. Bringing things around for now. Gonna see how Reaper's still coming about also. We'll see how the game Reaper's trying to see a little bit of what's going on. Trying to get some information, trying to pick up some excitement of what's happening. Comes around, CC getting set up, and just have ourselves the expansion being established then, so we get that on the go for the moment. Cycle coming about, CC's on the way, again getting a little bit of everything going for now. Just waiting for the starport to drop down. Here's a faster expansion from Ryung, but he expands on the high ground, so he's being safe with the expansion. That's important to note, because obviously by being safe with the expansion, that's fine. But it is, being safe with the expansion comes at the cost of now you have to float it down to the low ground, so that takes a few moments. That's one way in which Clem will get back into this, so that generally becomes fairly important. Deal breaker, a little bit of a difference maker. These early stages. Reaper's coming around, reactor setting up on the barracks. Currently needs a pause.
游戏暂停。
Back. Okay, we'll give it a moment or so, guys. Try and get this sorted out. Nothing too bad. Let's get back on track nice and quickly. Get this underway once again. Cyclones heading back down the bottom side as the game does resume when we get back to it. And like I say, a few Cyclones heading out down to the bottom for the moment. As we are going to be seeing Clem trying to be the aggressor into this natural, so trying to find a little bit of something here. Gets a couple of SCVs, Ryung backs away, waiting for a reinforcement or two to show up. That might be the point at which Clem also decides to back it up and to give it up just for a moment or so. He will begin to do exactly that as we have a little bit of a trade out. Rhea Cyclone going down, and oh, Clem takes a bad lock on there. He's going to lose another Cyclone. He knows that that is messy, especially when he's been so good at microing Cyclones this tournament. All playoffs long, Clem has been absolutely on point microing those Cyclones. Let's just have a drop in the main base, so Clem is going to get quite a few SCVs. This is where he's going to find Ryung completely unprepared. Lock onto the Raven is always scary. Damage on that Raven adds up, and you do not want to let that damage go too far, because that really can ruin your day. So we're seeing our Reaper's Cyclones continuing through for a moment or so. Just going to be seeing 6 SCVs going down. Clem's had a good start. He's now going to start losing a Raven, though, as well. And maybe it is time to give up the chase here just a little bit and just to chill it out for a few moments. So trying to get yourself in even more trouble. Just take it easy for a moment or two, perhaps, as you see 4 SCVs going down in total. Oh, extra there for Ryung. So he's down by 7 workers. Clem doesn't need to do too much else right now. Just needs to play it chill, not lose too many units as he's hunting for this 1-1. Cyclones all pulling back to the top. Marines getting ready to roll. Raven Cyclones again all gathering together. Starport moves off the tech lab, is going to move elsewhere for a few moments. And the factory moves over to the tech lab instead, so factory just going to pull across there. For a moment or two, Clem not going to do too much else for the moment, so you have a few moments to calm before the craziness perhaps resumes here. Ryung is pushing across the map. And Clem is set up defensively on his natural. He doesn't have anywhere else to defend at the moment, so this is absolutely fine for him. If he just wants to sit here, that should work just fine. As we are going to be seeing, well, he actually moves his third forward, so maybe he wants to fight a little bit east first to drop the auto turrets. He gets 2 Cyclones for free, and he's got a third one locked onto. Oh, great trade for Clem. He finds a lot of value on this. Clem actually gets a lot done there. That's a massive trade in his favor. 3 Cyclones is not cheap, and now he's still got 2 Cyclones on the other side of the map as well. So Clem comes in harassing with these, and he uses the medevac for vision, so he knows what's coming his way. He knows there's an attack on his way. Or, you know, a couple Cyclones coming through his way. He locks off, he locks on again. He actually gets 2 for 0. The Cyclone trades are Clem's to be had, as he's killing so many SCVs now as well. 3 workers, 4 workers going down, 5. He's going to force an auto turret. He's going to try and get out. He sees the other Cyclone showing up. Now Clem pushes the third base because Ryung has been pulled into the main, and this is a game of momentum that Clem is in complete control of, as he is going to put a lot of damage onto this orbital command. Do we have a repair on this orbital? He changes direction. I think repairing from the main might have been faster, as we do kill the third CC, and Clem no longer needs to commit, but he's back in the main with the double Cyclone here. He saves both of those, and that's because Clem is absolutely feeling it right now. He's on fire. He's playing quick. He's playing his best StarCraft once again. He's been doing it all weekend long. He's going to do it once again right now. Ravens, everything else. Just going to continue to gather up. 1-1 upgrades, combat shield continue to come through. All of the Cyclones in the medevac again going to come back across for the moment as Ryung, can he make something happen? He's going to try and work his way around the right side here. And look at the difference. Clem already starting 2-2 upgrades as well. Definitely can see all the momentum on his side. As Ryung, he picked Clem apart a bit in that last game, and Clem let Ryung kind of retake control. And Ryung was great to take advantage of that, but this game, Clem is just saying, no, there's no such thing as you taking control of this match. Clem eats an anti-arm missile, but he's otherwise doing great. This time he's trying to get in with these Cyclones again. But there's going to be units in position immediately, so job's not doing too much else. Cyclones lock on again. A few more SCVs going down. 3, 4, 5 workers being picked away at right here. So again, damage continues to add up. Good damage being dealt, to be fair. You take those. Just going to see this fight breaking out. I mean, one Matrix goes down. Does he have another spellcast? He might not need it. That tank's going to go down so quickly anyways. I don't think he does need it, actually, as Clem continuing through, knocking down tanks and all sorts. He's going to get the GGs. It's 1-1 against Ryung. Instant SCV to the front, but that's for a depot. It always throws me off when you jump in 15 seconds deep. I apologize. As we get ready to go. Ryung is in the bottom right. The revive from Onsyde goes on Ryung. In the top left, the red Terran player is Clem. I wonder if, in a way, this is also smart from Onsyde. If they genuinely think Ryung has a good shot at going 1-1, which why not? If they genuinely think that, then maybe they also feel as though for the best of 1 ace match, if it comes down to that, then maybe they'll sit back at this and they think, hey, look, you know what? Then we can choose Solo or Maru based on, you know, whoever comes out. Because maybe if they feel Ryung will go 1-1 against Clem or Kua, then they're like, okay, if it's Clem and they have to revive Kua for the best of 1, we can send out, you know, Sola. But if it's Kua and they're going to revive Clem, then we send out Maru. Maybe that's the line of thinking here, right? So they can kind of pick maybe the preferred matchup in the best of 1. They have that open choice to them. Like, that is a possibility. Obviously, that relies on Ryung at least taking 1 game. But is that a bad bet? His TVT has looked good lately. He just went 1-1 with Clem. I don't think it's a terrible bet. Maybe this was the smartest play to give you the best overall expected value chance of winning. That's wild. Like it's wild to think about, but maybe it is like the 200 IQ plan. Maybe it is the 200 IQ plan. So Clem taking some deep breaths as he got started here. Needs to put all this pressure aside. Just needs to settle down. I wonder if Clem feels more pressure with it being Ryung, because he's like, huh, I kind of should win Ryung, right? Like, maybe I should kind of, if I can beat Ryung, then surely this should be fine for me, no? This should be decent. Well, that is a quality drop, guys. Give me 1 second. I will try and get that resolved. My YouTube feed was like, hey, how about 360? Maybe not. Liquid's playing for a 2-0. Yeah. Yes, with Clem. I like this a lot, though, I think, because I think with Kua, the more likely result is a 1-1. With Clem, when you send Clem out against any of the players, I think a 2-0 is a bit more on the cards. But if you ask me who I want to then play a best of 2 and then a best of 1, I think for Liquid, it makes more sense to send Clem first, because why not give Clem a good chance of getting a 2-0? Kua is very capable of winning the best of 1, right? Just as capable as Clem is of the best of 1, I honestly feel like. So, yeah, I don't hate it. I think this is smart. I think this is actually the better choice overall. Because you're not just playing for the 2-0, you're also just playing for... Yeah, I mean, honestly, the way that Kua's looked shaky in TVT, maybe he could have got 2-0'd. I don't know, like, I like this setup more. What a massive matchup. I can't believe Ryung is the revive. He started, like, moving his camera. He started looking ready to play. I was like, wait. Is this Ryung? And then it switches in. Oh my god. I love it. Clem got the initial SCV, by the way, on the command center. Slight delay there. His couple of Reapers putting their work in, as they both have expanded. Ryung was a little bit slower behind after the delay for a couple of moments there. You see the Cyclone's able to get rid of 1 Reaper, so Clem sees them at least making a little bit of a move forward for a moment or so. So being aware of that is obviously a big deal. As the medevac of Cyclones continues to go over to the right-hand side, is going to turn back around towards the upper left now. Just going to unload those Cyclones there. We do have the Reaper and the Cyclones together, all joined up. Medvac moves around. Obviously, the dropping Cyclones is a very popular play right now. We've just seen a lot of that already today. And I feel like whoever wins this game 1 has got to be feeling great. Because if you win game 1, suddenly like, wait, I can win game 2 and just end the series? Your opponent's going to be under so much pressure. Clem needs to be careful. Okay, the Reaper's going to spot the Raven and the Cyclones. That means his Medivac is actually going to catch Ryung out of position. Oh, this is bad for Ryung. I don't think he's got anything in this main base. A Raven pops in. He's actually going to lock onto the Raven. It's going to get killed straight away. So Raven goes down. We don't have to fight the auto turret, obviously. We can just turn onto the SCVs. He will find one. Cyclone's going across the map here from Ryung. Well, obviously this is dangerous. Clem's missing 2 Cyclones, but you've got to find a way in as Ryung as well. Clem can also have the defensive Cyclone spawning, so that's a big deal. Oh god, this feels like such a... I feel a little bit sick for these guys. It feels like so much is on the line right now. As, again, Clem getting that Raven is a big pick. Didn't do more with the Cyclones in the end. That was maybe not as certain as we thought. The Medivac still alive, right? Yes. It's a bit difficult to see it on the red background there with the red Medivac. So Medivac does sit over on the sides though. You'll see this barracks lifting off, going to move away from the reactor. And both players are starting to transition into their next step of this game. Third CC's coming online. Ryung built his in position and got away with it, which is great. A little bit of greed there will benefit him. Whereas Clem, just going to drop a scan, make sure he is playing against Bio specifically. No, it's good to know you're not playing against Mech, especially when these Onsyde Terrans who do share strategies and ideas and styles. Especially when you've seen them play against Mech, play some Mech today. That's a good lift up from Clem. Good boost as well. Necessary. We're going to take a fight here potentially. Clem would have to go up a ramp. He's going to lose a Cyclone in the process. He loses one. He doesn't get anything yet. Auto turret's coming down. Bad position for Clem, I think, because he can't auto turret because of the ramp. So Clem loses quite a few Cyclones there. I mean, it was a bit of an awkward one altogether. Clem still has a Raven advantage. He's got a lot of energy still on his Ravens too. I think the ramp was really awkward, not because of moving up it, but because he couldn't put auto turrets anywhere, so he kind of lost the fight, which I think he wanted to take, because he knew he had so much more auto turret energy, and knowing that, I think he really felt as though he had an opportunity, a moment or so, where he could perhaps get a lot done, that now never comes around. So that's a little bit of a shame, obviously, as SCVs get to repairing up that Raven. Coming about a little bit. We just got the SCV there is going to be seen by the Reaper. So SCV was off to build the missile turret, I think. He's been doing that a lot. The missile turret to the side of his base, trying to catch a Medivac. He's been loving that play throughout the Terran versus Terrans in this event. One combat shields. Ryung's like, hey, I kind of like this move too, but I think Clem will find this with the Medivac and probably just deny that rather than moving further forward. Well, Clem sees it, so if he wants to deny it, he can. I think that's the best choice. It's a free SCV. And obviously a missile turret as well. He targets the missile turret first, because just in case Ryung doesn't respond in time, it's more chance of actually getting a kill instead of a cancel. So, pretty cool, but Ryung does respond in time. Yo, True Cat Mysteries, thank you so much for the 41-month resub. Each month more beautiful than the last. Thank you so much for the 41. Hope you're doing well. Thank you so much for the big resub. Uh-oh, Clem doesn't have, obviously, the watchtower here. Ooh, my goodness, he sees it on the minimap in time. Clem is fast today. He's playing quickly. He's noticing and moving and getting out of trouble ASAP a lot of the time. Job well done in that regard. Marines and Medivac still moving up top. Medivac boosting around a little bit again. Clem is pushing. Supplies are fairly even. You know, numbers mean a lot, but in TVT, position can mean a lot as well. And Clem just going to sit on this low ground. Breaking into Golden Aura can be tough as Clem, he needs units over here. These SCVs should be able to protect a little bit. The Cyclones come from the other side, so now Clem needs to figure out which fight he's actually going to take. Oh, Cyclones to the left, right, Marines on the right, but Clem realizes, hang on, you don't have many units over here then, so he matrixes the siege tanks, he pushes on forwards. He needs to keep moving, he needs to go for the tanks if he's going to make a play. Equal work is going down on each side so far. Did Clem keep his orbital alive on the other side of the map? That would be a big deal breaker. Yeah, he did. It's still floating around. Somehow this is a fairly even trade. Workers lost on each side is fairly similar. Oh, we're going to siege up the tanks there as Clem. Ryung was pulling SCVs forward. Oh my goodness, Ryung loses so many SCVs as the tanks for siege. He dropped a Matrix on one tank, but he didn't kill anything. So Clem gets away with this. Marines chasing the drop down over here as well. Clem maintains position on the map. Those extra 19 SCVs, a little bit more damage done at the end. And those Marines would love to get rid of those medevacs too. With the current way you play TVT, you don't really invest into early Vikings, so it's so safe to kind of run around with medevacs all the time like we've been seeing here. Clem backs away. This game is fairly even. It's a 6-worker lead from Clem. It's equal army supplies. Both players have fairly similar upgrades. A little bit favored for Ryung. It looks as though he started his +2/+2 bang on time. Clem started his +2 attack, but his +2 armor was apparently just a little bit delayed. As we also see Ryung showing up with a few Cyclones to start denying a 4th location, and he will just be there for a moment or so. So still making use of some of these Cyclones from the early game, trying to get a little bit more done with them. Clem trying to take some map control back. Marines just wandering around, trying to get in position. Ryung holding the watchtower gives him that heads up that units are moving this way. Just pulls this back. Clem still trying to be the aggressor, trying to take positions on the map, trying to move into location as best he can. Clem gonna drop Matrixes here. He's obviously got the first 2 tanks he can actually kill. Oh, this is a big play from Clem as he moves forward. He believes a little bit. Clem's sending it. All tanks go down bar 1, I believe. There's 1 tank left here. Ryung's loading up his next tank to back away. Clem taking a massive fight. And Ryung is going to be in trouble because he does not have the tank count to survive now. That's going to be extremely troubling for Ryung. This is going to be a problem. This is going to be an issue. There are going to be problems for sure as we just move forward. This base in trouble. Immediate counterattack from Ryung. Clem has to recognize that this is a massive possibility. You already see him beginning to just set his units back at home. He hasn't sieged yet, though. That needs to be something that happens. We're just going to siege very aggressively as Clem. He wants to push through. He can maybe have that base if he keeps going. Ryung's fighting on the other side. It's on the picture-in-picture. The tanks were sieged from Clem, though. And with the tanks sieged up, Ryung gets turned around. Clem taking a 40 supply lead at the moment. This game 1 was tense. It was close. There was a couple crazier moments. But it looks as though Clem bullied his way into a very good position. Those matrices were really important. And Clem, I think maybe the reason he wins this game overall was perhaps the Raven usage. He constantly had very, very good spell casting, really good matrices, created opportunities for himself, gave him the shots that he needed to close out. I think that was very important. As a couple libs siege up, Marines and tanks are going to be held back for the moment. Vikings firing, the couple of libs taking damage. We're all going to be seeing the army of Clem does not see the units moving across the other side. Clem is going to move some units forward. The Vikings will see it. Okay, so now Clem knows knowledge is one of the most important parts of this. As Ryung might try and collapse on this portion of the army instead. Clem will siege the tanks. A few Marines to buy some time, and it's enough time. As now Clem's reinforcements are coming across the map. He stopped the potential counterattack as well. Tanks still pressing around. Another Liberator trying to move around. So Ryung having the lib. And Clem wants to just take position. And obviously he's already denied the triangle base. He's now going to be able to go after the planetary, which can't relocate. It can't lift up like an orbital can. A couple of tanks taking the long way around Clem. They just got blocked. Yeah, that's a little gift from Clem. They got body blocked, so that's just a donation. His own tanks made that happen. As Clem looking to deny his left side base, trying to move up to base number 5. I guess Clem here just needs to realize he doesn't need to do too much. He doesn't need to go too quickly. He lost a few tanks in this trade. He actually is going to see these Marines over here. Tanks again in trouble for Clem. He saves 2 of them in the medevac. Quick pickup to respond to the threat. Ryung is down on workers. Army supplies are similar enough that a bad fight for Clem can still turn this game around. As Clem also the one rich enough to go to 3-3. Hits the anti-armor missile. This is huge for Clem. Upgrade difference in TVT. Marine on Marine is massive. Clem has a lot of siege tanks as well. Ryung commits through. Clem's tanks are going to get a lot done. A few Marines drop on top of them, so they're going to friendly fire a little bit. Clem still holds a supply lead coming out of this. As we will scan, we will see it's only really tanks left over here. They on siege. Clem doesn't have enough Marines to make a move, though. Clem finished +3 attack during this as well. I know his armor was trailing previously. He lost all 7 SCVs to a Liberator. Yeah, Clem has +3 attack, so that fight was huge. +3 attack and anti-armor missile in your favor is a huge deal. That makes a massive difference. An absolutely massive difference. Marines and tanks resetting. Marines and tanks in the center. Going to go after some rocks here. So we're seeing those tanks sieging up. We take a look at one another for a few moments. Again, just picking away at what may be on this one. Some medevacs loading up, moving back over that right-hand side. Actually going to see Clem spotting it, so Clem... Ryung spotting it, so Clem is figured out. Ryung makes a move out into the center. Again, Clem, vision is so crucial for him. He's actually going to be able to make a move up into the planetary, though. Ryung is going to maybe base trade this. If he base trades, well, it's not a terrible choice, base trading when you're behind. Clem, you actually need to do a little bit better on that setup, though. That needs to be much prettier than it's currently being. Like I say, base trade is going to establish. Clem needs to start making moves. He finally does work his way through that planetary. He gave up a lot more units then than he maybe had to. Almost definitely had to. He's already defending the main a little bit. We scan ahead. He's got a Liberator too. He's actually got a really good defensive position on the main. That's big. What does Ryung have on the main? He has a lot. Clem's going to siege up his tanks in range. He knows he needs to try and start busting through this. He wants to get on top of the production. He knows how important getting through that production can be. As Ryung, I think he realizes that he's just not going to be able to do enough here. You can see his body language on the camera is pretty negative overall. Vikings and tanks continue to join up together here. Marines still going after that orbital command. As Clem also has bases to the left-hand side, so Clem is also just still mining. If neither player actually breaks the main, then it benefits Clem because he's still building so much more than Ryung is over time. Clem has the air control as well. Siege tank gets popped as it pops out, and it looks as though Clem has about a 70 supply lead. As, yeah, it's still a little bit messy over here. It's still something you have to be cautious of. It's not obviously a guarantee or anything of the sort just yet. This is still close enough to go any which way. Clem actually does make a play up into the main base, wants to just push and pressure and close this out. He's got enough to do it as well. Ryung trying to hold on. He's currently fighting a planetary. Clem says, cool, I'll just repair it. Trade as best you can, little planetary fortress. Any kill is a good kill right now, as Ryung knows he can't win from this position. Clem gets game one. That was a tense game, but Clem comes out. In the bottom right, our blue Terran player is Ryung. Must win this game. On the top left, to win the World Team League Winter Championship, it's Clem. Team Liquid. They've never entered the top 4 of the WTL since its inception, since they started playing. Once they did, they just did not stop. Oh. Oh, Clem. Is this just an... would be a very early scout. It could be a second barracks proxy. He likes this because it's very safe defensively. If your opponent proxy raxes you, it actually gives you a good setup. It also allows him to create some good pressure as well. And I honestly always think this is such a comfort build for Clem in TVT. To me, this just gives Clem the opportunity to harass without being fully committed to the proxy. And we know with his micro, he can do so many things if he can just get a little edge like that. So Clem gets that set up. Obviously, Ryung chooses no scout, so he does not know. And he's going one gas expand, which is actually a little scary, because obviously Clem will essentially have 2 racks of pressure. It might not hit as hard as a proxy 2 racks, but it still is 2 barracks of pressure. And the way this times out, the first 2 Reapers will arrive at about the same time, so you'll have 2 Reapers versus 1 in time to potentially delay the CC as well. Reaper moves out, checking the common proxy location, but he's going to turn around, because all you're checking for here is the proxy 2 racks. You don't check for the nearby single racks proxy. Oh, Ryung. He's building a Marine as well. That's not exactly the great... I mean, it's not a terrible unit to have, obviously, but This is so important. This Reaper right now from Ryung needs to absolutely micro back. He moves forward, he sees it, he moves away. Ryung is going to keep himself alive right here. Clem builds a bunker. He realizes his opportunity, going to go after this SCV. With Marines producing, this is a big deal. Clem's going to dive up. He drops a grenade down. He's just going to back away. A Marine coming down the low ground. Reaper will chase as well. Clem kind of needs a moment or two to try and finish up the, well, to try and just get his Reapers to heal a little bit. The bunker is a bit of a pressure point. It's also high ground vision, which is obviously a big deal as well. High ground vision is huge. Oh, Clem's Reapers have regen, guys, and Ryung's has not, so Clem's going to get a Reaper kill. Now he's going to come back through. His Reaper is still healthy. He's going to micro backwards. Clem is not losing anything. Finally, he loses one. He's going to be able to keep the others alive. All the Marines going down. This feels very good for Clem so far as he continues to pressure the low ground. Now, Ryung did finish up the command center. A Hellion pops. Reapers are still low from Clem. He's going to take the multi-hit, and he is going to put damage on to push the Hellion back. Lots of SCVs pulled for Ryung. Clem is only just on his own expansion, remember. Ryung is losing a lot of time. He actually lost the bunker, so he didn't cancel that. Some money wasted. Again, Clem expanding back at home, but it's only just starting, so Ryung still has that advantage here. As Clem is only going to show one Reaper. The other Reapers want to show up and just, you know, kind of jump at the moment's opportunity. Clem tries to go forward there. My goodness, this is such a tense battle in the early game. Clem wants to get those Hellions, but he stacks up the Reapers. He takes connections off of them. Good grenade is going to give him some space to get away, but I think Clem knows he gave up Reapers without gaining anything at all right there. Yeah, he didn't really achieve anything with these Reapers. He didn't kill a Hellion off or anything of the sorts. Clem is a couple SCVs ahead. He has got a Cyclone. Maybe that's what he was trying to go for. Keep the Reapers around, keep units pressured back, and then his Cyclone can show up and help out as well. That was a really intense micro fight, and I think for once, Clem did not micro to the best of his abilities. Big difference there is, I believe that's the income graph. Clem taking advantage initially. Now Ryung will take a lead back as Clem just sets up on the low ground, and we'll be waiting to drop mules on that low ground as well. It's Ryung to go and harass with a medevac. Okay, the Reaper is going to see the medevac in a second, so now you see that, and there's going to be Cyclones showing up here from Clem, but then the Cyclones are going to be up against Hellions as well. Fortunately, 2 Cyclones is a little bit better than a single Cyclone as Clem. I don't think he really has intentions of going further forward here. Obviously, pressuring is nice. He's just now getting the tech lab on his starport. He will be behind on the Raven timing. He's building his third on location. I think Clem is recognizing, hey, look, I've just pushed the pressure back so I can do this, but also I need to do this. And he's definitely realizing that overall what he got done early was perhaps not quite enough. And he now needs to find some openings. The problem is it's so tense for Ryung to move out onto the map as well. Because if Clem finds the entry point with the Cyclones where his opponent kind of makes the mistake, that's bad as well. I mean, again, just to have those Reapers still alive, they could threaten the counterattack into the main base also. Just so much more pressure available. Just sets these Cyclones on the right-hand side. Ryung has established a lead. That command center just being up, allowing him to produce SCVs all this time. Taking a 3, 4, 5 worker lead is a big deal. Whew. Medevac loads up, the 2 Cyclones pull away. Just gonna get back into the center for now. As the factory lifts off the reactor, we have barracks on the way up, and we actually get to breathe for a moment, guys. We actually get to breathe. Clem having that very fast third on location is going to help him a lot. That's going to make up for a little bit of the SCV difference. You can see this medevac obviously looking for some potential damage. Ryung refusing to move out. There's not going to be an opening for Clem, but that's fine because Ryung had the edge. By not moving out, Ryung is not going to be able to maintain that edge in the slightest, so that's a pretty big deal. Medevac just chilling off over to the sides. Again, a couple turrets will go down. Cyclones are going to be sitting out here with these missile turrets coming into place. Setup once again, just going to be having our orbital command coming out the front here for a few moments. Get this settled. Let's just see Hellions, Cyclones coming about as well. The orbital command also coming through into position. Gonna get set up at the front then. Right about now. Get that ready to roll. And everything just continuing to join together for the moment. As this one Reaper comes in, SCV is going to be taking a few shots of damage. SCV's taking some shots. Cyclones get across, picking off the Reaper. The Marine, yeah, shooting at the Ravens a little bit. Cyclones do drop in, and that's going to be a big connection in for a few of these SCVs. So damage being done there as well. I'm just trying to harass with these Ravens. He's dropping a lot of auto turrets down. He's going to get some SCVs, but he lost a Raven in the process. Any Raven going down is obviously a big loss. That's going to be very expensive. That's going to be a big issue. Plain and simple. Again, Marine, Cyclones, the Siege Tank all setting up for the moment here. The Cyclone's going to come back around the far left-hand side. And evacuating back in to try and get a little bit more done. As we just get this all set up, so we continue to get everything set and ready. Oh, again, breathe a little bit, guys. It's getting a little bit wild up in here. This is kind of a wild series so far. And it's definitely a bit of a crazy game. The game does seem to be leveling out overall. Clem getting away with that faster expansion on the third base, helping him to reestablish some control. Still trying to find moments with these Cyclones. He's so good at it, right? Shows up, couple SCVs most likely, and he just gets away. It doesn't have to be a lot, it's just little bits of chip damage, and it keeps you so busy as Ryung, right? You're constantly thinking, oh my goodness, that attack could be coming in. Oh my god, that's something I've got to pay attention to. These are all things you got to be very wary of. Oh, this time the Marines do not somehow catch the medevac to actually get the kill. That's wild. So close. Cyclone's coming around, Marine's coming through. Just going to be seeing Clem on the push. Actually hits an anti-armor missile. Clem, he's got the army of Ryung completely out of position to the left-hand side, so he's just going to get onto the natural. Uh-oh. Ryung's going to lose his natural expansion straight up. There's nothing else he can do here. The only issue for Clem is he's obviously fairly committed in. Is that a problem? He's going to start taking this fight. Oh, the matrices are very good for Ryung. Clem just needs to disengage. Clem, I feel like a fight is the worst thing you can do right now. His siege tanks are going to get taken down as well, but he killed the natural. Clem just needs to go home and find a defense. He's done more than enough damage here. Cyclones in the main base are going to double down on this. He is doing absolutely more than enough, but he needs to find a defense. Ryung's going to come across the map. Clem lost a lot of army in that fight. I honestly just wish he had just kind of lifted up and just gotten away, honestly. I think that would have been the better situation with just whatever units he could. Oh, he doesn't have combat shield yet. That's actually a big deal as well. If this game is going to turn out to be close, these Cyclones, even just shutting down reinforcements might be a big factor. Clem! Oh no, the siege tank's not sieged up. What do we do? Lift and just retreat? No, he misses the Cyclone lift. Vikings are trying to fight Clem. What? Oh no, this is not the fight. Hand off the keyboard. Ryung knows he's got it. This is going to the best of one ace match, guys. Oh, Clem. I really felt like he could have maybe... I mean, he could have made a better effort. Alrighty. Here we go. In the top left-hand corner of the map, our blue Terran player is going to be Maru from Onsyde. In a single best of one to decide everything. Bottom right, our red Terran player is Kua from Team Liquid. 0-2 against Maru earlier. Has he got the losses out the way? This is what it comes down to. Clem did so much of the work. He put his team on his shoulders and he carried them, honestly, most of the way here. Kua was great along the way. Can Kua finish up when needed most? That becomes our question as we get this set to rumble. Golden Aura has a map, potentially very defensive. I feel like this is honestly a good map for Maru. Very defendable. He can play his defense very nicely, perhaps. Now them World Team League logos, Orbital startup, Reaper's on the way. CVs going across each other. SCC getting set up, SCV gonna go and nibbling against one another. It's going to be fast expansion out of Maru, while Kyo is going into that factory, so we'll be expanding more slowly. We're just sitting at the front. Command center is coming through. I see a little bit of damage there. Reaper Marine going to fight back a little bit. Going to chase that Reaper down. So a few moments of this Reaper being chased about. Just going to get that set up for the moment here. Little bits of damage being done to begin with. Loops back around. It's going to be seeing Maru defending well. The bunker coming online again. He likes to just play it safe. Here in one of the earlier games against Maru, he had this interesting moment where he tried to dive onto the... the bunker with like a lot of cyclones. It was a very similar setup. Maru expanded faster. Q had the more aggressive setup, but then he never really got to make the most of the aggression because, like I say, he gave up a lot of cyclones trying to break a bunker that just wasn't ever worthwhile. Again, starport on both sides of the map. He's going to be a little faster here from Q, who's one SCV behind. His CC still building up, so this is where he's going to start being a little bit further behind. He'll be behind a mule at the moment. And of course, the additional SCV every here and there. As Cyclone locks onto the Reaper here, grenade goes down. The Reaper is going to get picked off. Secure just cleans that up. No issue at all. No harassment coming through from Mary successfully, at least. More cyclones on the way. Starport just on that tech lab. The barracks is going to come across and take positions. Kira again will have a little bit of an opportunity leading with this Reaper. I mean, Mario's not building cyclones at all, so he really is putting it all on the line with what we currently see. Reaper getting set up as well. Just going to be having the medevac boosting across right here. And right now, here come the Cyclones and the Reaper coming forward. Just going to be jumping onto this bunker. This bunker is going to go down. Big losses right there. A couple SCVs begin to drop. And this is actually a really good start. The medevac had a couple of Cyclones out onto the map. That is going to be 2 Cyclones going down. 8 SCVs killed, though. So Kua gets some good damage early. Takes about a 4-worker lead from this. He lost 2 Cyclones, so it's an army for, you know, economy trade is what that comes into right there. So an army economy trade out. Well, we have the order turret going down. We're going to continue to push on forwards. Just going to try and push in. Still Kua feeling like he can get something done, but the moment that tank gets set up, I really feel like his moment is most likely going to be gone. That does seem to be a little bit of the case right in that scenario. So that's going to get shut down. CC coming up in the main base as well, so we continue to get that established too. Bring that into play. Raven still overhead with those Cyclones hanging around for a few moments here. Seeing the Raven pulling back over around the right side a little bit. The Marine's going to start stepping forwards as well, as we just have. Okay, and continue to get set up. Cyclone's still prepping, obviously, again. Kua maybe not super far ahead right now, but able to still at least keep presence on the map, which is always dangerous, right? Just having the presence, having the position to be here is a very good thing for you. See those Ravens thinking about maybe trying to get something done. Continue to move this about. Just going to be seeing a few Marines coming out as well. Got a lot of that set up. We do scan on top of this location, scanning on that base for just a moment or so. Just again, check out what is happening for the next few seconds. We just have ourselves the step back on the way, +1 attack on the way. Game is moving into bio each, which again is not a guarantee based on what we've seen so far today. Go with that watchtower again. Definitely control of the game early on from Kua, but There's only so much that necessarily overall means, especially when you're playing Maru, who again is very comfortable playing defensively, playing that kind of sit back and relax style, should he need to. Coming back over as well. I'm just going to try and see a little bit more of what we can do. Cyclones locking onto one another. We're going to see a good bit of micro there from Maru, utilizing that medevac very nicely. And he gets 2 Cyclones for free, so low HP on his own Cyclones, so maybe they won't be able to come back anytime soon, but that seems pretty reasonable. Obviously, you still get a free trade. A free trade is something you never turn your nose up at. Couple fights going around. Marines are there. The Cyclones get pushed back. Again, just still using these Cyclones for map control as Q, but he's a little bit behind on army supply now. And I can only imagine that he would like to try. And, I can only imagine he would like to try as, oh, these Cyclones are going to get surrounded. That's not going to be a good trade, so he's going to lose every Cyclone. Now, that's absolutely an army lead for Maru. The thing is, these Cyclones are keeping Maru's army back a little bit, so now Q is going to have to play with the fact that Maru just gets to move out. The whole idea of Maru's style here is that he plays a little bit of a greedy opening with no Cyclones or anything, but he basically skips into a stronger army around this point in the game because he's been so much faster to transition out of Cyclones because he never really built Cyclones, right? He built a couple, so it's risky, but if you get through to this point, this is where your power is going to spike a little bit. Maru also hitting 1-1 upgrades a little bit before Kira is ready on that. The one thing I'll say for Kira is he's got Ravens, he does have tanks, and he does have what is a very defendable map to help him out on. And those Ravens on the other side, interference matrices are so possibly scary. I mean, this is a terrifying moment. So the World Team League could rest on this. Matrixes go down, tank's going to fire. The Ravens of Kira dropped a couple matrixes, maybe not enough. I feel like he could have done more with his Ravens. He's trying to press forward at the end here, gets a Raven in return. Tanks, he's going to try and break on top of those. He does have the Marines to get rid of one tank at least. No, he's going to lift up and back away. Kira is going to hold, but that's a very weird fight because I kind of felt as though it was going well for Kira throughout, but his overall supply is not exactly beneficial compared to that of his opponent. So a little bit of a weird one for sure in these early moments, and Kira does push Maru back. He's alive. Kira is still hurting that little bit. TVT against the monster that is Maru is never easy. Like I say, game close enough, but Kira has a lot he needs to try and stay on top of right now. Maru going to look for the drop in the natural. No defense here is the +2 attack is not started from Kira either, so that's actually a mistake from him. Kira saw it with the slightest little something just as the scan came down as well. He's got nothing in position. The drop in the main is a possibility as well. Here's Marines moving up on the other side. They might be able to run into the natural still also, so maybe an opportunity for him to do something in return. He's going to lose his engineering base. That is obviously massive. I mean, he wasn't super far along on 2-2, but now he'll be even further behind in terms of trying to get that up. And like I say, the drop in the main base is a possibility as well. Kira is losing a lot of SCVs, and I feel like Team Liquid's lifeline in this series is maybe starting to come to a bit of a close. Kira needs something in return across the map, and Maru's moving out, so maybe there's the opportunity. That group of Marines, there's one siege tank there, but if you get through that tank, I think you've got a chance at the very least of making something happen. So Kira will try and pull the trigger on that. He is going to get in the natural. He's killing off a lot of the reinforcements. He's going to be on the natural. He will get SCVs. He could go into the main. He's actually going to force units to come back home. He will lift. He will boost. He will escape out of there without losing too much. All of a sudden, no, he loses everything because the interference matrix came down on the full medevac. Good spot from Maru and a good opportunity made for himself to actually fully clean this up instead of just settling for some of those units escaping away. Kira still playing from that little bit of a deficit right now. And Team Liquid have come so far. They started in the very first round of the playoffs. They came all this way, but Onsyde may just be a little too good at the end of it. As you see, Kira does not really want to take this fight. He's going to run. He wants to try and lead this army elsewhere. He does not really want to take a battle. Then again, what's Kira waiting for? He's got so many less workers. He gets Matrix on a medevac again. The Vikings will hunt down another full medevac of units, and Kira army supply is disappearing. He's going to dive on a siege tank before he gets siege. He'll siege up the rest of his tanks as well. Is that enough to make a play? He will at least deny the siege tank on the low ground of Maru, but now Kira is exposed to the right-hand side. His tanks are to the left. He's got one tank here. He pulls the SCVs. He knows he's going to be desperate. He knows it's not going to be easy. He's going to push on through. 16 SCVs going down. Kira and Liquid are falling. Onsyde are going to be champions of the World Team League once again. Liquid did so much to get to this point, and it just wasn't enough. Kira leans backwards. He knows this isn't good enough. He's going to be 0-3 against Maru on the day, as Maru's TVT looked absolutely on point against Cure. It was Clem that he couldn't quite conquer. And Ryung coming out as that, I actually think Ryung coming out to get that 1-1 against Clem, such a ballsy play. But boy, did it work out, because being able to send Maru in the best of 1, yeah, that's just going to be an incredible situation, right? As Maru absolutely has complete control of this, and it is going to be Cure dropping units, dropping supply. Clem should still be playoff MVP, right? Like, Clem was ridiculous in this event. I still think Clem should absolutely be playoff MVP. I assume you can still win that even if you don't win the tournament. I mean, he just did so well. Because what he did was incredible. Ryung, credit to him. He obviously did massive amounts. I'd say Ryung probably the MVP of Onsyde in this as well, because obviously he comes through as a the only player to have taken maps off of Clem in the end. And that was clearly important, because that's the player that had so much success from Liquid. Cure is trying to hold on, but I just do not see it happening. Marines push forward. They do get a couple of tanks. I mean, the game has just gone too far back. The style of Maru is frustrating, because he plays in such a greedy way that you don't think he should get away with, but Maru defends well enough that he does get away with it. GG's Onsyde are your world team